Hello, Kelly Artist. For this lesson, you will create a self-portrait. A self-portrait is an image, so a drawing, collage, painting, sculpture, or photograph of you created by you. The self-portrait you will create for this assignment will tell a story about your personal experience during quarantine and distance learning. Before we get into the detail, let's take a look at our learning target. Your learning target says that you can create a self-portrait that expresses your experience of quarantining, and you will include items that have been the most important to you somewhere within your self-portrait. In order to be successful with this assignment, we have to look over our success criteria checklist. Number 1 says to view the artist samples and ideas in the following slides, and we'll do that part together. Number 2 says to gather 10 to 20 items that have been the most important to you during quarantine. I can see that both samples on this page have a few similar items. They both have masks, they have headphones, books, and some kind of food. So as we are moving through the following slides, be thinking of items that are important to you. Maybe you can get ideas from some of the artist samples that are shown. You can even write them down if that's helpful. Number 3 on our checklist says to create a self-portrait, which can be a drawing, painting, collage, or a photo, like a selfie. And the portrait must include all of the items that you gather. Remember, it has to be a minimum of 10 items. Okay? This means you have to also be part of your art, and your items have to be as well. So the very last success criteria says the same as it always does. So you have to make sure that you submit a picture of your art to the discussion section in our Kelly's Artist group page. All right, let's take a look at a few examples and see how we can create our quarantine self-portraits. One way to create a self-portrait is with a camera. We all know about a selfie, but these artists all took pictures with their camera overhead or above them. If you look at the picture at the top left, you see a woman holding the camera above the items that she's photographing. This would be hard to accomplish if she was taking the picture with herself and not her items on the table. However, if there is someone at home who can help, you could hold the camera over top. They could hold the camera over top of you once you're on the ground with your items. The boy who's on the bottom surrounded by food, this picture was taken by an artist named Greg Segal. He took this picture from above the boy. You may have someone stand up high on a couch or a chair, or try to get so you can try to get everything you need in the picture. The woman on the top right propped her camera above her and set a timer on it so it could take the picture for her. You can try to set a camera high above you and then organize the items on the ground, but you want to make sure you leave space for you, your head or your body, so that you can also be part of the image. This may be a little tricky, but there are other ways to accomplish a quarantine self-portrait much easier. Artist and photographer Jason Travis did a portrait series called Persona to capture people's personalities. He asked people to share what items they had in their purse or on them, or things that were super important to them. He would organize those items in a way and then photograph them. After he photographed the items, he would take a picture of the person. Once he was done with both images, he'd get on his computer and combine the two images so that they were placed next to each other. So you can see the person right alongside of their items, as you see on the right over here. If you guys want to do something like this, you could always use a program like Microsoft Word or Paint to put two pictures together into one picture. There's a lot of YouTube tutorials out there that exist that show you how to do this. Danilo Diaria created a quarantine self-portrait by simply holding and wearing all of the items most important to him. So you could accomplish the same type of portrait by asking someone in your home to take a picture of you once you have all your items stacked around you. You could even do this while sitting on a couch or a bed. This artist chose to hang the items up on the wall or from the ceiling around them. There are many ways to accomplish a self-portrait that includes multiple objects or items as well. There's always a mirror selfie. So you can simply set your items down on a flat surface that's around that mirror and take a picture of you and your items by pointing the camera into the mirror. If you're not feeling the photography aspect of the self-portrait, you could always use more traditional art practices like drawing or painting a picture of yourself. You can accomplish this by looking at yourself in a mirror and drawing exactly what you see. After you draw you, you can start to look closely at the items you picked and find a way to incorporate them into your drawing. Maybe you draw them around the outside of your self-portrait. There's an example, let me go back. Right here in the middle, there's an example of someone who drew the items that were important to them around the outside. And another way you can do it is actually get a little more creative and put the items right inside of the portrait like this artist did. There's a lot of different things you could think up. You can also create collage or incorporate parts of collage into your painting or drawing. So maybe you find images in a magazine that represent some of the things that you found in your home. You could always include those pictures into your portrait. Okay, now that we've seen how artists have accomplished self-portraits with items, I want you to start thinking about what items you'll include in your quarantine self-portrait. Okay, think about the time that we've been out of school. Think about those items that have been most important to you during that time. You can close your eyes for a moment if it helps to think it through. Think to yourself, what are some of the things that you've been using every day? What are the things that you keep close or you couldn't live without right now? What are some of the things that have made you feel comfort or joy during this time? There are some examples listed on this slide if you'd like to pause the video and go gather the items before looking at the last step. Okay? Once you have at least 10 items, you can start to set up your self-portrait. Remember, there are options on how you will create your self-portrait. You have the choice to make a photographic self-portrait, in other words, to take a selfie. Okay, you can create a drawing or a painting for your quarantine self-portrait. And again, you can create a collage or incorporate parts of collage into your self-portrait. Just remember, you need to have both you and your items in your final artwork. Okay, friends, that's all for this lesson, and I can't wait to see your creative quarantine self-portraits, and I hope you have a great time with this assignment. Happy art making!